Hi everyone. So I only have 2 books to talk about for my end of the month. None of them were salty, so I'm not going to be doing any salty reviews for my end of the month because there wasn't any. So I have 2 books that I gave 4 stars to. One is a novella, and I ended up reading the book that the novella that's in this anthology. Now, the first story is The Earl on the Train by Kerrigan Byrne. Now, I'll go and show the cover of the novella and what it looks like. I'll put it here. This one here is basically Sebastian Moncrief. So, he is from a previous book. I didn't read the previous book, but to me, I don't really feel like you are really missing much if you decided to read this novella. But I will say, like, in order to get the full context of the story, you'd probably be better off reading, I believe it's the Duke with the Dragon Tattoo or something like that. He is in that one. And then he does something in there that makes him look like a bad guy. And then in this novella, it's like his kind of like redemption arc. So, Sebastian, this is kind of like a second chance, or kind of like, I'd say more like a second chance kind of thing, or a second first impression, I guess you would say. Like the first impression that, what's her name again? I can't remember her name. I'll have to, when I can, I'll have to look up her name because right now my Goodreads is down and I can't get any of my information. This is the thing that I'm like, I have to keep reminding myself is besides putting it down on my Goodreads, I need to remember to write this stuff down on paper because this has happened to me before where Goodreads has gone down and I'm like, okay, it's hard for me to do a mid-month wrap-up or end-of-the-month wrap-up when I don't have my information right in front of me. So this is me, like, going off the top of my head. So I can't remember her name. I'll have to see. Maybe I can find it in the book. Veronica. Veronica first met Sebastian on, I guess you'd say on a ship. And they kind of like, there was a little bit of animosity and he did something bad, something naughty. A couple things naughty, I'll just say that. He did something naughty. And so it made her kind of like, hate him. And so now they're on this train where she's trying to help out this woman who is going to be married off to this guy that she doesn't want to be married off to. So she's going to try to have the girl escape, the young lady escape with her lover. And so she's going to help facilitate that because the guy who's the father is a real piece of garbage. And so she has her motives of why she's on this train. And Sebastian has his motives on why he's on this train. So when he sees her again, he's like, oh, she's so beautiful, He was attracted to her on the ship when they first met. And, he's still attracted to her. So this is basically their story. It was sweet because besides them, like, doing this thing of, like, trying to help facilitate this young lady and her lover, kind of get off the train, and also possibly help out the young lady's mother, but also, their attraction toward each other, so besides their goals of what they need to do, they also are like, deeply attracted to each other. So, things happen. It was good. I really enjoyed this one. I did give it 4 stars. I did really like it. And now, because I didn't finish off that one series there, it was I can't remember the name of it. It was like, The Highwayman was the first book in the series. I can't remember the rest of them. but there was the one with the, something with the dragon tattoo, you know, whatever the cover is. That one there I want to read, and I'm not going to go in order. I'm like, I normally go in order of the story, but I'm like, I really don't feel like reading the Duke and then reading some of the other ones to get to the dragon tattoo one. I really want to read that one. So that one interests me right now. So I'm going to end up reading that one soon. Probably in March, I'm going to read that one. So that way I can continue on with the story, because this one here, I was like, ooh, damn. So I really enjoyed this one a lot. I do need to read the other ones in this story. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 more other stories in this anthology. It's pretty thick bitch. So that one I really liked. I gave that 4 stars. And the next one I ended up reading, I end up rereading this because that story there was reminding me of like this story. So this one here is Julianne MacLean, Portrait of a Lover. You could still buy this book, but the author has since gone and recovered this and also renamed it, so it's not the same name. I'll have to find the story, what it's called now. I'll have to put it right here. But this one here, I've had this book for a long time, but I realized that I did not mark this down on my Goodreads because I read this before I had a Goodreads. So this book came out in 2006. This book came out in 2006. I probably read it around that time. So it's been a lot of years since I've read this. So I like to go back and reread this one because I loved this story. I didn't give it 5 stars this time around. I gave it 4. But we have, this is essentially, this is a second chance romance. So we have the character of Annabelle. So Annabelle Lawson is the adoptive sister of this guy. I think he's like the Earl or the Duke of Willis or something like that. This is the second story in the series. The first story is, I think it's Love According to Lily. I think that one might have gotten recovered too. And I don't know if it's the same title. That might have gotten retitled too. But anyway, you could find these books on Kindle Unlimited. So this is the second book in the series. And to me, it's like you can read this as a standalone. You don't have to read the first one. But to know, like I said, to know the full context of like why there is this animosity toward these characters, you have to read the first one. So this one here has Magnus. Now Magnus hates her, I guess you'd say brother, though he's not her biological brother. You'd say he's more of a, kind of like a stepbrother, almost. That's the way I kind of think about it, because Magnus is related to Willis. I think it's Willis. They're related. They're cousins. So they hate each other. So Annabelle meets this man, and he goes by a different name, but she essentially meets Magnus. He goes and he disguises his name because once he figures out who she is, he's like, he can't tell her, you know, his name, otherwise she would know. And they meet on a train, and he is, you know, right off the bat attracted to her and intrigued by her and really wants to get to know her. But it's because of her brother that's kind of like in the way. That's kind of like the wedge, you know, in between them, that it makes it hard for him to kind of be truthful with everything, you know. So they start to connect, and they, you know, end up becoming attracted to each other. And then what happens is he ends up like breaking her heart, tells her he doesn't want to be with her, and years go by. And meanwhile, Annabelle hasn't gotten married. She paints. She's a very talented painter. And so he ends up writing to her and telling her that he owns an art gallery. He would love to see her work, you know, in his gallery. She would make a commission, obviously. And she's really leery about seeing him again because he essentially broke her heart, you know. And then she found out, you know, that they, you know, are cousins, but, you know, obviously for her, it's not blood relation, so it's, you know, not creepy. So, it's basically their second chance romance. And so this one here, I still enjoy this book. I still enjoy, you know, their connection with each other. She's obviously, you know, leery about going forward and, you know, not sure if she can trust him. She definitely has trust issues, which I'm like, understandable. I mean, he lied to her. He lied to her, said it was a different name. And then also Magnus still has this hate and resentment toward his cousin. And more things end up becoming revealed in the story. And so you end up finding out different things that maybe they didn't know. So it was really interesting to go back to this book again and reread it. But I still enjoy this one a lot. And so I keep this one here because I love the cover. I don't like the new cover and the way they, you know, she renamed it and everything. And then this is the back cover because it has the, you know, that. I want to pick up another copy of this because, like I said, you can still buy this. You could still get this copy. So I want to pick up a newer copy because this one here is kind of getting yellowed, you know, and some of the pages are kind of like wearing out a little bit. And I figured if I keep reading it, it's probably going to end up falling apart on me. So I do want to get like a nicer copy of this, you know, so a little bit newer. But yeah, I do want to keep this because I really like this book a lot. And yeah, it was good rereading it. But yeah, I had to mark it on my Goodreads and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't put it down. Even though I joined Goodreads in 2009, I have not been I have not been very consistent with marking down all of the books that I have read. So there are definitely more books that I have read over the years that are not on my Goodreads that I've been really bad at like, you know, keeping it up. It wasn't until maybe like 3 or 4 years ago that I really started paying attention to keeping track of my books that I read. There's definitely like how many other books that I've read they're not on my Goodreads list, that I have to like reread them again. Like I said, for this one here, this one I read years ago. I read Love According to Lily. I think that's what it was called. Love According to Lily. And then there was another one, I think it was called My Private Hero or My Own Hero or something like that. I know I've read at least 3 or 4 books by Julianne MacLean before. So she's definitely like one of those authors like nobody talks about on BookTube. So if you do want to check out that series, it is available on Kindle Unlimited. So you can find it on Kindle Unlimited. You just have to search her name, like Julianne MacLean. And like I said, I'll put down if I didn't put them down while I was talking about this book, I'll put them down now, where it shows the covers of the new books, because she did, you know, re-release them or something and decided to change the titles of them, which I think is stupid. I hate when authors do that. They retitle a book and then they go and rechange it. So you think oh, this is like something new from her, and you're like, no, I've read that before. So I hate when authors do that. So I don't know if maybe like she lost her publication company and now she's more independent. I have no idea. But yeah, anyways, that's what I've read so far. I am in between 2 other books. I'm reading another Beverly Jenkins. When I get done with that, I'll talk about that in my March mid-month wrap-up. And then I'm also reading a Ruby Dixon. So I'm listening to an audiobook, and then I'm also reading a book. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to finish that off this month because, we only have 28 days this month. If we had 31, I'd probably been able to finish off a couple more books. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, no salty reviews for my end of the month because, I didn't have anything salty. I will say I did have a DNF. I did have a DNF, but I just, I don't want to talk about it. I don't feel like talking about it. So yeah, that's it for this video here. Have yourselves a good day. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. And I will see you all on the next video. All right. Bye.